This is Top 30.
Welcome to the show. I'm Richard Bacon.
And I'm Kristen Smith. We have 30 stories in 30 minutes, so let's get started. Don't put away the flu medication and tissues just yet. The CDC is warning people about a possible second wave of the flu. Another strain called flu virus B is now being reported more frequently than the original flu virus A strain, which, as you know, led to one of the worst flu seasons in history this year. The B strain is more severe for younger children, and the symptoms are basically the same as the A strain: fever, chills, fatigue, headache, and a cough. And get this, if the A strain already made you sick, you can still get the flu again from the B strain. Doctors say it's never too late to get a flu shot, and you can also protect yourself by washing your hands often. If you are looking to escape the flu, pack your bags and head to the U.S. Virgin Islands. It's the only place in the United States reporting no flu activity.
Rents are rising in the United States at the fastest pace in almost 2 years. According to the real estate website Zillow, the median rent is now $1,445, a 2.8% increase over the past year alone. Experts say the housing supply crisis is now affecting renters, since would-be buyers are finding it difficult to transition from renting to owning due to low inventory and high home prices. A senior economist for Zillow said for-sale inventory is tight, and with home prices continuing their rapid climb, it's becoming more and more difficult for renters to become owners, forcing them to rent longer than they otherwise would have. And with more renters staying put, rent prices go up. Another factor stopping people from taking the plunge into home ownership is rising interest rates, which could make mortgages less affordable for first-time buyers. This highlights the growing need for increased construction of both apartments and starter homes.
Now let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with Lauren Simonetti. Lauren, let's talk about the big story right now: a data breach at a few big-name department stores.
That's right, Kristen. Saks and Lord & Taylor shoppers, check your credit card statements. The owner of the department stores says more than 5 million payment cards, that information compromised by cyber thieves. The New York Times reporting that the data was likely obtained by phishing emails sent to the retail workers. We've got another round of layoffs at Snap, the third one this year. 100 jobs are being cut, mostly from the sales side of this, as Snap continues its restructuring. The move expected to save the company $34 million a year. And Tesla had its worst month in 7 years. Last month, the stock dropped 22%. And on April Fool's Day, CEO Elon Musk went on Twitter to say Tesla had gone bankrupt, Kristen.
Well, Lauren, that's no laughing matter, considering the electric car company is under major fire for that recent car crash.
That's right. The NTSB is unhappy that Tesla disclosed details of last month's fatal crash involving the Model X. The investigation is ongoing. Tesla revealed that the semi-autonomous driving system was activated before the crash.
Okay, well, interesting stuff. Thanks, Lauren. Teachers from Oklahoma and Kentucky walked out on Monday to hold rallies and pressure lawmakers. Following the successful West Virginia strike, educators are hoping for more funding, pension reform, and raises. And Hollywood lost a beloved writer and producer on Sunday when Stephen Bochco passed away from leukemia at the age of 74. The 10-time Emmy Award winner was best known for Hill Street Blues, NYPD Blue, and LA Law. Many in the industry paid tribute on Twitter. And Notre Dame's Arike Ogunbowale hit the game-winning shot on Friday to beat UConn and take her team to the NCAA Finals against Mississippi State, only to do it again. Tied at 58, she hit a three-pointer with just 1/10 of a second left on the clock to win the championship for her team.
Ogunbowale for the win. Good! Arike Ogunbowale wins the national championship.
And watch as 17-year-old senior Michael Brown finds out he was accepted to all 20 colleges he applied to. And he got a full scholarship offer from every single school. Welcome back to Top 30. Students at Stoneman Douglas High School returned from spring break this week to increase security, and some students aren't happy about it. All students will only be allowed to carry clear backpacks given to them by the school for free, and students and staff will be required to wear ID badges while on campus. School leaders are also considering whether to install permanent metal detectors. Of course, this all comes after 17 students were shot and killed here at this school on Valentine's Day. Just a horrific occurrence.
Well, the key being after, all this is happening afterwards.
Afterwards, yeah, and that's important to note. They're just trying to now move on so that this doesn't happen again.
The school obviously has to take measures, but I can see why a lot of students are complaining about it.
Yeah.
If you're the students there and every kid is wearing a clear backpack, it's quite an unusual sight, isn't it, around the school? And I think it's probably, it would serve as a constant reminder of what happens.
And students are saying they're kind of missing the mark as well, where they're going after staying safe so something doesn't happen again. And the real thing is gun control. A lot of these students are saying, no, let's go over here and shift our attention to where it really matters.
And they're doing well on that front, the students, aren't they? Marco Rubio, the senator, tweeted the other day that these kids have achieved more in 5 weeks than anyone else has achieved in 15 years.
I think he's right.
Now on to a story about a new study that analysed how to keep your body young. Researchers say cutting your calorie intake by 15% for 2 years can slow the aging process and protect you against age-related diseases, which on the one hand is a way of saying if you lose weight, you will have a younger body and you will live. I mean, we know that.
Wow, that's really interesting. Now, I'm always in for a good fountain of youth story, right?
Of course.
And this is pretty interesting. I think what cutting your calorie intake over that amount of time does, it changes your metabolism.
It does, yeah.
Right? And even researchers said the metabolism adjusts to become more efficient in getting energy from food and oxygen.
I looked at a similar study a couple of years ago, found the same thing, which is if you go on a diet, let's say you cut 15% of calories, your metabolism changes, so your body learns to burn less energy to survive. The problem then is if you go back to eating exactly what you ate before, you will put on more weight than if you'd never done the diet in the first place, because your body has learned to burn less to survive. So that's why often you get the yo-yo diet effect.
And I'm sure everyone knows about that. If you've tried a bunch of different diets, it messes with your body in that way. Well, here's a story now a lot of parents may be able to relate to. A survey found about 6 in 10 parents worry they're not making enough family memories. They feel like they're missing key moments and the emotional impact those moments can have on their children. I think this is a concern for a lot of parents, that you want to bottle up all the good stuff and make the most of the time, and sometimes you have to work and you want to be home and you're guilty and worried, but there's
a lot of parents put their kids in front of the TV. That was that's part of this study as well, which is parents feel guilty for putting their kids in front of the telly, which is not a memory. Like there are many good things that come out of television, such as this program, but it's not a memory. I found with my own son who's 6, sometimes when I'm being lazy, I'll try and put him in front of the telly, or I'll just slip him an iPad, and he rejects it now, and he'll say, no, I want to play battleships, I want to build something. I want, and I quite like that pushback. You know, just to rattle off a couple of numbers from this study, 1 in 3 kids say their parents work too much. 1 in 3, 44% of parents say their kids have made them feel guilty about not spending time together as a family. My son says, Mommy, I don't want you to go to work. I'm like, but I get home by 1 p.m. Like, give me a break here. I can't even get my son to watch me on television. I mean, what hope have I got of building a career in this industry if my own son won't even watch me?
I don't know. You better get on that. Have that conversation at home.
Yeah, good point. Top 30 will be right back. Cars of the future might have better sound but no speakers. German parts maker Continental has developed a method to deliver sound using the car itself. Small electrical components called actuators are attached to the car's interior panels and create vibrations that carry sound. The rear window becomes a subwoofer. The windshield, floor, dash and seat frames produce mid-range frequencies. The pillars between the doors and windshield carry the high frequencies. The leader of the team who developed the technology says it's a 3D immersive sound, and you're experiencing the music in a very different way. But the innovation didn't come from a search for better sound. It happened because all automakers are trying to reduce weight in their new models to help meet higher standards for fuel efficiency. Continental says it can reproduce the sound of a high-end car stereo weighing about 20 pounds with parts that weigh just 2. The company says the technology will appear in new cars starting in 2021.
If you've ever seen a Cirque Du Soleil show, then you know just how impressive the acrobatics can be. And Coco Dominguez from Fox 26 in Houston got an up-close and personal look at all the prepping that goes into the high-flying event. Hey, Coco.
Thanks, Kristen. The magic of Cirque du Soleil has been around since 1984, when 2 street performers created the performing troupe in Canada. Each show has a central theme or storyline and incorporates circus styles from around the world. Stilt walkers, trapeze artists, even whistlers are all part of the Cirque du Soleil family. I got a chance to spend time with a professional juggler who showed me some tricks. I eventually got the hang of it. Doubt they'll be inviting me on the tour, though. Dozens of shows have been performed around the world. In fact, Cirque du Soleil employs nearly 5,000 people from more than 40 countries. I got a chance to meet the cast of Corteo, which goes inside the dreams of a clown. The visuals were really great, and I'd recommend it to anyone looking for something different. The show is touring the country, so check it out if you're interested. Back to you, Kristen.
Well, it looks amazing. Thanks, Coco. In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 29 Philadelphia, the 39th Philadelphia Police District, along with local business owners, put on their annual food drive, providing essential items to those in their community that could use a helping hand. The food drive was started by Community Relations Officer Joe Lukaitis.
We're showing them that we care. We're not just here as just the police, but we're here for their other needs.
Thanks to the success of this annual event, they hope one day the food drive will be year-round. Our next story from Fox 13 Tampa Bay. Training has begun for the Warrior Games, a Pentagon-sponsored annual event for wounded and injured service members. The athletes seen here have been training at the MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, pushing and cheering each other on to do their best.
Everybody's about improving each other, cheering each other on, helping everybody be the best.
This year's games will take place in June, but no matter who wins, what's important is the message.
As it proves that no matter what your disability is, what your injuries are, whatever you want to do is possible.
Our final story from Fox 5 DC. A group born and raised in Palmer Park, Maryland, is giving back to the community that has given them so much. They call themselves the A-Team, and when snow hits the ground, they're the first to make sure the sidewalks are safe. A gesture most appreciated by the elderly neighbors who otherwise wouldn't be able to do it themselves.
We're the fortunate looking out for the unfortunate.
They care, they care about the well-being of the other neighbors in the community.
The A-Team hopes the younger generation will be inspired to keep up the tradition. The disparity between America's rich and America's poor is bigger than ever, but the diversity within those categories is surprising. Using detailed maps created by the geographic software company Esri, income inequality across the United States is glaringly noticeable. Looking at this map of Los Angeles, high-income diversity levels are shown in green, meaning there are a range of income levels, even in the richest areas, while the poorest areas have the least range, shown in purple. Esri's Alan Carroll says, if you look at any major American city, you can see some pretty stark divides between wealthy areas and non-wealthy areas. And looking at a full map of the U.S., it's clear the large metropolis cities have more affluence, while the South stands out as being more poverty-stricken. According to Esri, 22.3% of households across the country earn less than $25,000, while 24.6% earn at least $100,000. Seeing it laid out visually like this really puts things in perspective.
Researchers from MIT have created a robotic fish that swims and mimics the movements of real fish, and they hope it can transform the way we study ocean animals. The robot, named SoFi, is soft-bodied with an undulating tail that propels it through the water. It can move all directions and is controlled via remote by a diver who can be as far away as 50 feet. SoFi can control its own buoyancy, swim as deep as 60 feet, and is equipped with cameras to capture its surroundings. And most importantly, other fish don't seem to be fazed by the robotic impersonator, which means SoFi can get extremely close to fish without actually scaring them off. Lead researcher Daniela Russ told the LA Times, "For us, this fish is magical. We imagine someday it might help us uncover more mysteries from the amazing underwater world that we know so little about." A fascinating approach to study marine life in an unobtrusive way.
Monica Kaye got a 23rd wedding anniversary gift from her husband, Caesar, that she'll never forget. For the last 3 years, the 39-year-old had been on nightly dialysis due to polycystic kidney disease. And it turns out that after 23 years together, Caesar was more than just her soulmate. He was a perfect match to donate a kidney to Monica. Monica said, 23 years ago, he came into my life for a reason. He knew what he was doing, and he saved my life. The couple went through the life-saving 5-hour procedure for a kidney transplant in a Florida hospital in February, and it went so well they were discharged just 4 days later. That's one heck of an anniversary gift. Certainly beats out a card and some flowers.
Americans have more options for streaming entertainment than ever, but many are hanging on to cable TV. About 90 million Americans pay around $100 a month for cable television. A research firm surveyed Americans about why they're still paying for cable. More than half say it's because their television was bundled with their home internet service. Many cable companies provide TV, internet, and phone service together for a price lower than what they would charge for each on their own. It can seem like good value, but sometimes results in higher overall fees. It seems some consumers have begun to figure that out. 70% of pay TV subscribers said they were paying too much for their subscriptions. Nearly half of all subscribers said they were dissatisfied with their service, but over a third of consumers say they had cable for so long they just didn't want to change. Ontario's Liberal government has pledged hundreds of millions of dollars toward healthcare in an effort to deal with overcrowded and understaffed hospitals. At $822 million, that's nearly $1 billion they budgeted for the 2018 to 2019 fiscal year. Premier Kathleen Wynne said this investment is going to mean people will get faster care in all of our hospitals around the province. Wynne also said the funding will improve access to hip and knee replacements and quicker access to specialists and cardiologists. She added, this investment will reduce wait times and provide more critical care, chemotherapy, and MRI scans. The Ontario Hospital Association applauds the funding, but says a lasting impact will only be made when a long-term agreement is made to cover increasing hospital costs.
Studies show obese people taste flavors less than people who are more trim. And now researchers say they may know why. They gave one group of mice a high-fat diet and another group a more balanced diet. They found the group of mice with a higher-fat diet ended up with about 25% fewer taste buds. Scientists then determined the chronic inflammation obesity triggers throughout the body was the main reason behind the reduction in taste buds. They say if the same correlation is true in humans, it may mean people with weakened taste buds turn to higher-calorie foods. And experts say proving that link could eventually lead to a whole new way to treat obesity in humans. Several states have now legalized recreational marijuana, but they may not have an easy way to catch drivers under the influence. Recreational marijuana became legal in California this year, but the Los Angeles Times reports there's no set standard for police officers to figure out who should be off the road. The state has a .08 blood alcohol level for drunk drivers. Law enforcement can use breathalyzers to determine who's over the limit when they pull someone over, but those suspected of marijuana impairment in California get a field sobriety test and an old-fashioned blood test. It might take 2 hours after a traffic stop to draw blood. About 70% of THC, weed's active ingredient, can disappear from the blood in half that time. That makes cases hard to prosecute. Others say blood tests aren't reliable because of how the drug works. Some users might seem high but have low blood levels of THC. Regular smokers could have high levels of THC but not seem impaired at all. So until a legal standard is established, the final decision is made by a judge and jury. We see the moon every night, but scientists are still grappling with how the moon was actually formed. Cody Goff, host of the Curiosity podcast, joins us from his studio with information on a new theory. Hey, Cody.
Thanks, Kristen. Researchers have a new theory about where the moon came from. We thought that 4.5 billion years ago, an object the size of Mars slammed into our planet, huge chunks of it flew into space, and Earth's gravity eventually gathered up the debris to make the moon. This new research proposes that the collision wasn't just a glancing blow, but it hit the Earth head-on, vaporizing it and turning us into a synestia. That's a donut-like spinning mass of hot, vaporized rock, and it can happen when planet-sized objects smash into each other. Now, if that's true, then the moon formed inside our vaporized planet under crazy hot temperatures and pressure, and after baking for a few hundred years, ding, fresh new moon. The only problem is that we don't exactly have proof that synestias are a thing. To get that, researchers say their next step is to get a closer look at moon rocks and keep looking for synestias elsewhere in the universe. Science, am I right? Kristen?
Well, that's definitely an interesting theory. Thanks, Cody. You can check out more on curiosity.com. That's it for today's Top 30. Here are some stories coming up on our next show. Research says many cosmetic products could contain ingredients that are harmful to your health. Plus, laws that ban texting while driving might not be working. And the unbelievable story of two women who found out they were sisters. Top 30 also covers more of the day's stories live on Facebook every day at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern. We'll see you next time right here on Top 30.